Welcome back, everybody. This is Youngzers, episode 34, I believe, if my math is correct. If not, correct me if I'm wrong. We got a loaded show coming at you today. A lot of bracketology. We're repping our colleges for the most part. Dan's repping his favorite college, but I'm repping the one that I was selected for. Low hopes for him, but we'll get into that later. Andrew not repping Indiana for whatever reason. I don't think he has those.
I'll get to it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let's get into it. What's going on, guys?
It's the best time of the year. You get a whole weekend of nonstop basketball. You cannot beat that. I don't care. This weekend, it's better than the Super Bowl, better than the World Series, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA Finals. There's only really one weekend that can top the opening weekend of March Madness, and I think Dane would agree. It's the Masters. Masters weekend, always there.
Yeah,
up there.
It's up there.
What about the World Series of Darts?
No.
Big darts guy now. I'm telling you.
Live darts.
Darts.
We need to go to like a live show. Do you see what people are doing?
No.
They're getting like a big group of guys and they just go to a darts like thing and they all like dress up in these outlandish outfits and just cheer.
That's awesome. So like
yeah,
with over in the UK it's huge. It's huge over in Britain. And they announced those like football games or football isn't very exciting except like 7 seconds per play, but you know, when someone's busting a big one or something, or a hockey game.
Yeah, busting a big one.
Yeah. Or a hockey game where there's nonstop action. That's how they announce darts over in the UK. Big darts guy. It's awesome.
So, do we just want to cut right to the chase? Do we want to start analyzing the matchups? The brackets were just released.
Are we getting right into that right now?
You want to? Is that what we're doing?
Well, we're transitioning over.
So I'm going to try to predict what our rules are going to be in this. I think Andrew's more of, the stats guy. He'll give you the kind of picks that, hey, these guys are good against this matchup. He already probably knows all that. Dan, what do you think your strength of these like matchups are going to be? Like, what's your input you think you're going to be?
For the years that I've filled out brackets, even when I was younger, I would watch a lot of the college games. I haven't been up and up on the college game too much recently, but I like to pick a Cinderella, like that long shot, and I normally can sniff that out. I don't know about this year. I think we're more chalk this year than anything. So I'll just give you some inputs here and just maybe a Cinderella story in the making. Somebody that might make it to Sweet 16 or maybe an Elite 8 appearance by somebody that you really wouldn't expect.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple teams I have some decent knowledge on. I'm not into like every team. I don't know the matchups. I don't know all that. But I think I'll give some good reasoning picks, like why you shouldn't pick a team. Like, just by a vibe. Like by the vibe of the team. So like if I think their mascot's stupid, I won't pick them. Or something like that. Just by word association or something. So like those are kind of picks I think that go far sometimes. So we'll see. So Andrew, do you want to take it away? Where are we starting at?
Yeah, when Dan brings up the bracket.
We're already up, baby. We're already up.
What are we up on?
I have it on another screen, so if you guys have it pulled up, you can see it on. You'll have to see it on your own. I wasn't able to get that over into the Discord at the moment, but I have it pulled up. It's on screen right now.
All right. So what?
Shout out to Dan though for the graphics.
I'm trying here. We're some trial and error stuff.
Okay,
that's fine. So where are we starting? The South?
We got the South and the Midwest up right now, correct?
Okay. So I'm going to go through the South here. I'm going to give DJ a little bit of love here. We have our March Madness challenge we did in January. The College of Charleston, the pick nobody wanted. DJ got that. They faced San Diego State in the first round. That's my upset pick, I think. One of my two upset picks for the South. The other one, I'm going University of California, Santa Barbara over Baylor, just because Baylor, they choke a little bit. They choke early. The Big 12, not a very good conference this year. I'm just not seeing much out of that. So I think that has the potential, but like you said, Dan, a lot of chalk. I think Virginia takes care of business. Arizona's the 2 seed. Obviously, Alabama's the 1 seed. They've looked great. I'm not going to take West Virginia, basically just because they play Maryland. That's the 8-9 matchup. Maryland's inconsistent, but West Virginia can't win on the road. You're winning in Morgantown, but spoiler alert, it ain't Morgantown in the playoffs, baby. Huggy Bear is going to be on that stool. He's got his windbreaker on, and he's going to be one and done there. So he's going to make his one appearance. He's going to hit the road. But other than that, Creighton, I think, takes out NC State. You know, those mid-majors like Creighton are always around there. The ACC was a little weak this year. I'm sorry, Dan.
No, you're right. But right there, I'm going to jump in. I think NC State has a chance in that game, just because the way they did play in the ACC this year. I was upset that they were ranked, quite a few weeks, and Pitt wasn't, and Pitt beat them, and this and that. I know it's all political, and I might be a homer, but that's one pick I can disagree with you on there. But go ahead.
That's fine, and that's really, just looking at the first round matchups. Alabama, the 1 seed, and they play the winner of a playing game. I have number 8 Maryland going over the 9 seed West Virginia. Charleston upsetting the number 5 seed San Diego State. Ryan, Virginia, your team taking care of business against Furman, the 4 seed, and then Creighton.
Go in a little bit on that.
Yeah, go in on it.
All right. So, as the Virginia expert of the pod, I have them going 1 round. I think they're going to exit after that because their depth has taken a hit recently. Ben Vanderplas broke his hand in practice before the final game of the ACC tournament. You could see against Duke, they struggled again. They struggled from spreading the court. Duke kind of sat back in his zone and was just able to, they didn't shoot well. Ben Vanderplas is a big shooter. I think they lost by about 10. I watched that game. But you got to be able to shoot, especially in the NCAA tournament. You're going to get some junk thrown at you maybe, and if you're not knocking down shots, there's a lot of length on a lot of teams this year, I believe. And I mean, they got good guards. They have that freshman that can shoot. I forget his name, but I got them going 1 round. I think my teams will be done, and then that'll end my support for Virginia because I don't know. I don't care about Virginia. I'm sorry, but that's my expertise on that. But another stat that I did see is 100% of national champions since 1993 have made their semis of their conference tournament. So those are teams you should be looking into to advance pretty far. So the Final Four of, say, the Big Ten, SEC, anything like that. So sprinkling some upsets there. And like Andrew said, I do think that Charleston's going to go decently far. You've always got some 12-5 upsets. I think 12 seeds are like 22 and 21 against 5 seeds. So that's a 500 record. Over 500 record, so a couple upsets, but it's March Madness. You can never predict what's going to happen. I'm sure we'll see like a 13 seed make it to like the Elite 8 or something, like St. Peter's last year, but we'll see something shaking up pretty quickly. I think this is kind of like last year where everything's pretty wide open and there's not really a clear-cut kind of, strong team that per se.
That's how it's been in the past few years, though.
Yeah.
As far back, maybe 6 years, there hasn't been that just clear-cut, blow away, blow you out team like your Kentuckys that you had in the past, your Dukes, your UNCs. They just, they go into the tournament with 1-2 losses, and then they just run the table because they're just dominant and they have the one and dones there. I think this is actually good for college basketball, though, because it's not just chalk. You can throw a dart at the dartboard and any of those teams could win. So I think that's actually really good for the NCAA tournament. It'll get the eyes there, and it's good for the programs that are involved in it too. And you want to make the tournament, so if you make it, you have a chance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, this year there was really no team coming into the season. Like, everyone's like, all right, this is the team to beat this year. The runaway favorite that's loaded up on talent. I mean,
there was, and they didn't even make the tournament. But I mean, they touched on that.
Overrated. That
you can't make a whole Sports Illustrated cover from like a remake from an old season and then not make the tournament. That's a bad look.
That was embarrassing that they were the preseason number 1.
But who are we leaning towards? Who do you guys leaning towards for the national champion? Who are you guys?
Let's go through the field of 64 and then
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so
leaning towards, but we'll keep going. We'll keep going.
Yeah. So we go to the East,
Midwest,
or Midwest. All right, so we're gonna go down here. The 1 seed Houston. I'm anticipating them taking care of business. The next seed, number 8 Iowa versus number 9 Auburn.
That's a toss up.
That's a toss-up. I always go
Auburn was
Iowa.
good last year. How many did they lose?
I don't know.
They were solid last year. I'm leaning towards Auburn.
They lost
Honestly.
Corey Smith from last year. I mean, he was
Yeah.
the number 3 pick in the draft this year. I go Iowa. They always have shooters. They're that annoying team where they have no business winning a first or second round matchup, but they still do. It's annoying. I cannot stand Iowa. Their football team and their basketball team just play. It's just boring. It's boring basketball to watch. Their football team's boring. They average like 3 points a game this year. I don't care. I just don't care. I'll be perfectly honest. Even though I am going to take Iowa. Miami, I think Isaiah Long carries them across the first round past Drake. And then this is where I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it. I don't like the striped pants. My team's Indiana. That's who I got in the draw. First round exit. Kent State. Led by Sincere Carey, transferred from Duquesne, averages 17 a game.
You just like the action, that's why.
I love me some action.
The thing is, I was looking at who they played this year after they won the MAC last night, and I believe it was Gonzaga. And they beat
Gonzaga, yeah.
What?
They almost beat them. They lost 73-66. I remember I watched that game.
It teams like that when they have you got to look at what teams have experience too.
Yeah.
So this favors the teams like speaking locally, Pitt and Penn State. You got 4 or 5 seniors, those older guys. Those are teams that fare well in the first couple rounds. So I don't know. Speaking from a local guy's perspective, I might put Penn State and Pitt winning 2 games and then matching up against each other. That's what's exciting about this part of the bracket.
It's gonna be
The thing is, Penn State's gonna have to take out Texas.
Yeah.
Or someone's gonna have to take out Texas to get there.
Yeah, Penn State would have to, and it ain't gonna happen.
They stuck with Purdue though.
Yeah, but did you see that Texas team roll last night?
Yeah, Texas.
Who'd they play? A&M? Was it A&M?
No, they was it Kansas?
No.
No.
Big.
Who the hell did they play?
I thought it was A&M.
No,
Or was
it
it
was
No, it was Kansas, wasn't it? And blowed them out. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
they won by 20.
Yeah, they crushed them.
Yeah.
That Texas team is something.
Yeah, and listen, Penn State they're one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the league, but they don't really have the size to compete. Like you saw, I'm gonna get off my chest. Purdue, mediocre guard play. They got a 7'2", 280 Andre the Giant WWE type guy in the middle where no one's stopping him. Like, yeah, if I'm that big, I'm doing that shit too. But teams like that get exposed in the tournament. We've seen that with St. Peter's doing it to Kentucky last year. Kentucky was by far the bigger team. You got to have the guard play to go along with it. Purdue don't have it. I don't have Purdue going very far. I'll be honest. I just don't see that. I have Penn State, Texas A&M is way too low as a 7 seed. They should be probably a 5 seed. So that's gonna be a tough matchup. Penn State's in the tournament for the first time, I think, since 2011. So I'm obviously going to take them, but I have them getting rolled by Texas in the second round. Xavier, the 3 seed, they're always dangerous. If Pitt wins and beats Iowa State, that's a little Sean Miller game. Xavier versus Pitt. Dan, what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
give me some talk.
Well,
here.
here's my first thought on everything. If Pitt makes it in, which I think that they will, because down here at the bottom we'll see first 4 in. They'll play Mississippi State for the play-in, for the 11 seed for over here in the Midwest. Now, if they make it, they play the Iowa State Cyclones, and that was my team that I got picked at the beginning of this. That we did our little wheel thing, and I followed Iowa State, and they were up and down. They weren't very consistent. They got blowed out by, I think it was Kansas a couple nights ago, by 13. They were in that game. Come out at halftime, they were down, I want to say 5 or 6 at half, and then come out on a 7-0 run, made Kansas take a timeout, and then it was all Kansas from there. Now, if Pitt plays Iowa State, I got to go with the homer pick. I got to go with my Pitt Panthers. First time that they've been in there since Jamie Dixon left in 2016. Jeff Capel really turn this program around. Say what you want about, they have all these grad transfers and this and that. He got these guys to buy into the program. He got them to buy into the way that he wants them to play. They play with grittiness. They don't have a lot of size, and you saw that against Duke. Duke was the far superior, bigger team, and they were able to stretch Pitt, and it helps whenever, as Duke, you have that center that can actually get out there and knock down some threes and stuff. So I have
the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
last year. Yeah, he did nothing for like the first half of the year. He had like 0 points the last time they played Virginia. Then he comes out, has like a double and MVP of the ACC tournament. So that's it's about getting hot at the right time too.
Yeah, and so, that's with any sport really. You look at any sport, if a team is seeded a little lower, but they could go on a run. You see that in hockey a lot. You see some 8 seeds going and winning cups. It happens. LA did it. Mm-hmm. It happens. But
the Canadians a couple years ago, weren't they? They made to the Cup final.
Yeah, weren't they? They were the last team in. So if you get and I know you're comparing 2 different sports, but you kind of can there, because if your team gets hot, you start playing as a team, and your fundamentals are there.
Too. Like, you get that feeling like I'm invincible.
Yeah,
I can't lose. I'm invincible. Superstitions start hitting a little bit more.
Yeah. But I'd like to see Nelly Cummings was 6th man of the year for the ACC. He comes off the benches. Yeah, he plays the game right. Pitt, it's exciting to have them back in the tournament. It was exciting to have the buzz around the Peterson Event Center again. Going down to that Pete, watching games on the TV and just seeing the Pete rocking like it was when I was younger. The Oakland Zoo was rocking. It was great because nobody ever wanted to play at the Pete, and I feel like that's coming back. And I hope that helps the program in the future. Jeff Capel, hopefully he can recruit well, which I think he can. We have to see what happens with Hughley, but for the team that they have this year, I see them beating Iowa State. I do, because I think that Pitt plays a little grittier. They play the right way as well. And then when they play, I have Xavier going on. They'll play Xavier. That'll be a great matchup. Bring it back to the day.
I have them beating them.
Yeah. So.
And run into Texas, and that's a good run.
Yeah, but that's a buzzsaw. But you can't. There are no knocks on that. If you could go into the tournament and win a couple games, I think the way they lost the last 2 in the regular season, they won 1 game in the ACC tournament and then ran into Duke. But if you end your season as the team that you are, how they started too was kind of rough, and you end your season with 2 wins in the NCAA tournament, hey, round of applause, props all around. Jeff Capel, I think they got something special with him.
Oh yeah, they definitely have a good head coach. He's gotten a lot of slander for a couple years now, but you can kind of tell that once he gets his own class through and his own recruiting, he put a good group together, and I think they're on the upswing for sure. And just putting my Penn State bias aside, like us Penn State guys with Pitt, but just as a fan of basketball, my favorite sport, I just think it's good for the area that doesn't have an NBA team to, just have some good basketball in the area, being able to watch, and, just having a good overall program. I think it's just good for the area. We don't have an NBA team. We won't ever be able to support one. So this is the closest thing we got to us. So just hope it's good basketball. That's all I hope.
And, the things to consider, March Madness, I love looking at it. What teams are hot at the end of the year? And coaching, I think, goes a big way. So, Kent State, 10-1 in their last 11 games. Indiana, listen, anyone that lost to Penn State in the Big Ten tournament, write them off right now. I'll say that. Penn State don't got the size to compete. They got, I'll be honest, I'm taking the glasses off. Penn State, they're heating up from 3. They live and die by the 3.
Yeah.
That doesn't really sustain, yourself long term, especially. But I think you look at the Midwest here. I'm penciling in Kent State as my Cinderella. Defensively, they're scrappy. They're let Sincere carry, like I said, Duquesne transfer, averaging 17 a game. They have that mix of senior, upperclassmen. They got the mix for leadership. Scrappy, hung with Gonzaga, almost beat them this year. So that's my team to watch out for on in the Midwest side of the bracket.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, because if you look, they get past Indiana, and let's say they play Miami in the second round. Miami doesn't scare me, and Pitt played them twice, played them tough both times. I know it came down to the wire both games. They ended up beating them the first time, and then the second matchup lost by 2 or maybe 1. So, yeah, if Kent State is hot, like we were saying, and they caught hot at the right time, they can make a little run here, because then they would run into what, let's say, just take chalk, Houston in Sweet 16. So,
Yeah.
and anything can happen there. Once you start getting, but once you get on a roll and you get in that mindset that, hey, this is, we're here for a reason. You want to prove people that 13 means nothing. I like that. I like that pick for.
Especially when you have a group of seniors, and these guys from, say, the smaller D1 schools. You get in that mentality. These are the last games you're going to play. Yeah. You're potentially not playing the second level or the next level.
Unless you might to Europe or something
somewhere, or Yeah. But for most of these guys, this might be the last opportunity they have. And hey, let's make a splash so we do play overseas. Or hey, we're going to get more eyes on us, because even like St. Peter's last year, a bunch of those guys, they transferred to higher Division I schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have guys that aren't seniors that are going to want to play like that and get to maybe a better opportunity and keep going from there.
Absolutely, so, that's because then you're getting recruited a second time there. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you had a bad senior year, your senior year of high school, or maybe you had an injury or something, and you go out there and you ball out, and a school comes to you, hey, you want to transfer? You can only benefit yourself if you're one of these teams from a smaller school that maybe you do have a couple more years of eligibility and you do want to keep playing, and then you could just progress there, get to a bigger program, and possibly make it to the next level as well. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, the transfer portal is definitely into play. That definitely changes a lot of things, the mentality of the players and how they're going to elevate their game to, put themselves in a better spot.
And there's another thing I look at too when I'm going through brackets. The lower seeds, a lot of the times there is no pressure on these teams. You look like I'm looking at the Indiana Kent State game. The other thing, you look at Indiana or any team that lost in their conference tournament. Like Ryan was talking about Virginia, they can't spread the floor. Their best shooters out. They don't have the depth. Teams get exposed at the end of the year for what's going on, and those warts start to get a little bit bigger when you see that on a national stage. Not many people are watching, the MAC championship. It's all about the big conference ones. So, you look at that Indiana, they got the pressure on them. They're a blue blood school. They're supposed to be a higher seed every year. They're supposed to be competing for a national championship every year. You just got bounced by Penn State. Now you're running into a team that's 10-1, in their last 11 games. They're feeling themselves. That's a dangerous combo right there. I like to look at those little things because it ain't always the chalk, like you said, Dan.
Yeah.
Not always the chalk.
And I like to look at it also back when Pitt was in the Big East, right? I thought the Big East was the most dominant conference back then because it was gritty, it was nasty, it was blue collar. That's the way I felt it was. And then you have the ACC with all these pretty boys, right? Anytime the Big East would play anybody in the ACC, I was never concerned about that. So it comes with like your conference plays a different way as well. So if you play in a grittier conference, you're used to getting bumped around, maybe playing through a little more contact than maybe an ACC conference would, then you're prepared for that, and you're ready, and you can get through that adversity in the play and in the game. So I think that has something to do with it as well.
Absolutely.
All right, on to East and West here.
Yeah, go with the East. Right here, it's Purdue, number 1 seed. Don't really care for them. Like I said, mediocre guard play. They just got a massive human being at center. That speaks for itself. That's a matchup problem. Memphis is a sneaky little 8 seed here. They're always competing. I think that's gonna be a good 8-9 matchup against Florida Atlantic. Duke, they're heating up at the right time. They're facing Oral Roberts. Max Abmas. He led them last year, I believe. He was shooting insane from 3. I'm pretty sure. And I might be getting them confused on the team. I think they got like a 7-3 center that can hit threes. So that could potentially be a little matchup problem for Duke. But I think that's going to be a closer game than people expect. I still think Duke takes care of business there.
I think Duke, the way that they watching them beat up on Pitt twice this year. The first time they beat them by 8 or 9, and then they blew them out by almost 30 the second time. Just the way that they played that second game, and they showed a different level, and that they were able to stretch them out. It was. I think Duke's going to be a handful for anybody, and that's coming from me, a Pitt fan. And hey, Jeff Bowser, if you're listening somehow, Duke's still puke.
No, right. I think they win, but I think it's going to be a closer game than people think.
They've played in a lot of close games this year. This is my section of the bracket where I have my absolute lock. If you're listening now, take this pick, put the bank on them. This is going to be an upset. Every time this team is in the bracket, I pick them. No matter what, I pick them to win one game and one game only. Providence Friars, lock them in. That's my team. Every time I see them, they win. Providence. Pick them. It's a lock. It's going to be an upset. They play Kentucky. Recipe for disaster for Kentucky. They haven't been playing well. But every time, I'm telling you, this has been the matchup I always see, and they always go one round and win. So Providence Friars, listen to it now. Take the pick. I don't even know who's on the team. Don't care. I pick them every time and they win. It's just one of those things that I do. But the other team out of there is Kansas State. I think Kansas State will shake things up a bit. I think they'll meet Marquette at some point. I'm not convinced as Marquette as a 2 seed. I don't know.
Big on Marquette.
Yeah. So I have Kansas State kind of getting to the finals there. And then how I see Purdue is I see a lot of similarities between them and Iowa a couple years ago, Luka Garza. I think they get bounced after 2 games. They're just not that strong to me. I don't know. Their guard play isn't that strong. They got that one big man. That's it.
Zach Edey, yeah. That's all they have.
As I'm sitting here, the times are actually popping up. So we got some times for the games that just came out. So
yeah.
It just updated on my screen. So here we go. Go ahead, Moss. Finish your.
Yeah, but a couple upsets, like I said. Ryan, I'm with you on the Providence. I don't know how they do it, but every year they're a thorn in my side in the bracket. I've picked against them long enough. This is the year that I just can't do it. The other one I have, it's not really much of an upset. I think USC takes care of business as the 10 seed against Michigan State, the 7 seed. I think the Big Ten was kind of weak too this year. There's a lot of 50-50 splits. I don't see anything dominant coming out of the Big Ten, no. Purdue included. But I'm a big fan of Marquette. They got the Vermont Catamounts first round.
Catamounts.
But Marquette, they're hot, and look at their coach. One of my favorite college coaches, Shaka Smart. He's made the runs deep in the tournament before. He always is capable of doing it. I'm a big fan of Marquette out of this side.
I do have an old D Wade Marquette jersey. I'm gonna have to throw on for the Saturday games or Friday games, whenever they're gonna play. I don't know. I just really like Kansas State. I don't know if it's because I watched a game earlier this season. They had that whole story on that guy that I forget his name. Well, what's that guy in Kansas State's name, Andrew? You'll probably remember. He was playing for Florida, and
Hey Johnson, yeah.
He had something with his heart, or he literally almost died on the court.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let him play. Florida would never clear him to let him play again. And then he transferred over to Kansas State, and he had a hell of a year. And it was just balling out 17 points per game, which that's pretty good for college. And he would have probably been, he was freshman of the year in Florida or so, at Florida for the whole, was that SEC? Yeah. So look for him, big tournament player. He definitely has a chip on his shoulder. I think Kansas State will, go decent couple rounds. I think they have the potential to knock off Marquette when they meet. But those are my 2 picks out of that bracket. We got Providence just first round, nothing too crazy, 1 round, and then Kansas State maybe coming out, and then Purdue getting knocked out after 2 games, and then maybe in that section, the final 2, I'd say Duke, Kansas State. With Duke, I'd say Duke maybe Final 4, shake things up, put a 5 seed in there. All teams, their champions are in their final, semifinals of their tournament. Duke won the tournament. Yep. So,
what seeds UNC this year?
NIT.
NIT.
Have the NIT brackets come out yet?
I don't know. We'll have to look at that. But real quick, I like Tom Izzo, Michigan State. always have. But Michigan State's so weak this year. They were losing games they shouldn't have. But on this side here in the East, I think Purdue the number 1 overall. Did they get the number 1 overall seed?
No,
Yeah.
Alabama.
Bama did.
Alabama.
Okay, but
Who's the 4th overall number 1
well,
seed?
here's the thing, and I do this every year, and I'll ask you guys. You don't have to answer right now, but I think Purdue's the first number 1 out, and I think it's in the round of 32. If Memphis can win against FAU, which I believe they will, I think they give Purdue fits. And I don't know what it is, what's inside of me is telling me this, but I think they get that center in some foul trouble, and I think they just run away with it, and they just expose Purdue for what they are, frauds, just like UNC.
I
But
completely agree. Yeah. There's always one seed that is always weaker than the others, like the Wichita State, something like that.
Yeah.
And just looking at how strong the other 3 are, Houston, Kansas, and
Bama.
Yeah, Alabama. I still forget they're a 1 seed. It's just they don't really compare to the other.
And
the other 3.
And
those 3 teams are.
I feel like there's 1 or 2 seeds that are better than Purdue. Texas. Mm-hmm. I think Texas is a way better team than Purdue. But I mean, I understand how things happen, things shake out.
It helped a lot that they won the Big Ten. If they would have lost to Penn State, they wouldn't have been
correct.
A 1 seed.
Correct.
They would have probably who would they have bumped up then to a 1 if they would have lost? Marquette.
It would have.
It's my sleeper pick. Once we get to the West here, the final, I think UCLA. That's my sleeper pick. Yeah. Oh, big time.
They lost the
Pac-10. See, here's the thing about UCLA and a lot of teams out west. I don't know a lot about because I don't see them play because they just like football. They play at 10 o'clock at night, and it is a damn shame. But go ahead. I digress.
Pac-12 basketball. If we're moving on to the West, whatever.
Yeah.
Pac-12 basketball is like my version of MAC football. I'm in the trenches with that. I love late night basketball. That's mainly why. Yeah, it's midnight. You got some Pac-12 games still going on. You flip it on, learn a little bit. UCLA did lose the conference championship game. Hey, I'm not putting too much stock into that. I look at the advanced metrics there. UCLA is one of the best defensive teams in college basketball, if not the best. Defense wins championships. Pac-12, sneaky good this year. I think UCLA makes a deep run this year. That's my initial, just gut feeling. The Bruins go far this year. Defensively, I think they lock a lot of teams down on their way.
So here's my question on them. Since I was hearing rumors that Jamie Dixon, the old Pitt coach, he's at TCU, would be at the UCLA head coach right now if they didn't have to buy him out. Was there a coaching problem there, or they're a 2 seed if they're playing well enough?
Yeah, I don't think there was any coaching problem
issues. Okay, I wasn't sure because I heard that earlier in the year that people were saying, yeah, Jamie Dixon would be the UCLA head coach right now, but he's got that 10-year contract with TCU.
Yeah, let me look into that. I haven't looked. I'm honestly drawing a blank on their coach's name right now, if I'm being honest. I'm drawing a complete blank on that. Full transparency pod. That's what happens.
I'm still salty that he left to go to TCU.
Yeah. Oh, it's Mick Cronin. For the old Cincinnati coach, you remember?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, he's taken them to the Final Four, Sweet 16. They made deep runs before. That's off the top of my head there. I remember that. So, he's made deep runs. Good defensive team. That's defense wins you championships in March.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. And out of the rest of that West, Kansas is the overall number 1 seed. I do say the Big 12's weak. I think they're inconsistent as a conference, but Kansas is still a damn good team. They're number 1 seed for a reason. This is the matchup I love. Arkansas, the 8-9, Arkansas versus Illinois. Illinois, you got swept by Penn State 3 games this year. Brad Underwood, I'm giving my dog shit of the week award. It's going to Brad Underwood. He's going up against Arkansas Razorbacks, one of my favorite coaches, along with Shaka Smart, Eric Musselman. Arkansas takes care of business. The Fighting Illini, you have been relevant since football when Juice Williams was at quarterback. And that was probably I was probably still in high school when he was there. So get that out of here. Rashard Mendenhall, bum.
We don't forget.
Yeah, I don't forget that. I have certain grudges against certain schools. Illinois is one of them, and don't think I forgot about that debacle of a game 2 years ago where Penn State lost to them in like 8 overtimes. That was the ugliest game I ever watched. I'm not going to bring that up aside from that, but you got St. Mary's and VCU first round. I think St. Mary's takes care of business against VCU.
No.
Is that Sister Jean's
There's
school?
there's a few games. There's a few teams in college basketball. When you see them, you know they're gonna, win a game or two.
The VCU Rams.
Yeah, they're always right there. Virginia Commonwealth University, name rings a bell. There's just a couple teams, they're gonna mix it up, and I think that's one of them. So I have them chalked in on my board. I stuck it, right on the wall. Presidential bracket, put it right on there. So that's a Goomes stamp pick. Seal of approval.
I have no comment on that. But after that, you got UConn. I have them beating Iona, the 4-13 matchup. The TCU Horned Frogs, I think they beat whoever's in the playing game.
That would be... What did you say? West?
At Arizona State.
Yes,
and,
Nevada, yeah.
And then, I have Gonzaga winning the first round matchup and then bowing out. Gonzaga, they don't got it. They don't got the twig.
In the Elite Eight. You can't when they start dancing, Gonzaga, this group, Drew Timmy, he has the whole, makes a shot, does the mustache celebration. I think they have it. They do play in a weak conference, but I believe when it's time to play, they do. So,
I think Gonzaga is just as big of a fraud as Purdue.
I have them in the Elite Eight. They are frauds that they will never win the big one, but I do believe that they'll at least get to the Elite Eight. They're not going to win the big one. Gonzaga will never win the big one.
Didn't they win one a couple years ago, though?
I don't think so.
They made it. They didn't win it.
Suggs with Jalen Suggs, because remember he hit the buzzer beater against UCLA and they made it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Drew Timmy, they were down by what? Was that Baylor's year? I think it was Baylor's year.
Was that the COVID year?
No, it was 21.
The year after.
They didn't have the tournament.
That's right.
Last year was Kansas. 2 years ago was Baylor. Because I can recall this perfectly. Drew Timmy was on the team still had the mustache, still had the celebration. They were down, I think, bad in that game. And he made a bucket, still down. And he did his, signature celebration. And I was like, dude, you're down, 20 points. You can't be doing your little mustache, pomp and circumstance kind of dance. I don't know. I don't think they have enough to win the big game, but I do think I have them in my Elite Eight. I have my whole bracket knee-jerk reaction completed. And my Elite Eight's Alabama, Creighton, Duke, Kansas State, Houston, Texas, UConn, Gonzaga. So that's where I'm going.
That's bold. I mean, that's
you gotta have some that's gonna shake it up.
Yeah.
You can't have, you're a big fool if you think your Elite Eights would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
No, yeah, it's not chalk.
No, I'm probably wrong. There's gonna be a 13 or a 12 in there somewhere.
Always is. Yep.
And I don't want to pick it because those guys, the team that I probably have losing first round, there's be in the Elite Eight somewhere. I don't know. But Final Four wise, I have Alabama, Duke, Houston, and UConn, and then championship game. I really want to see this Alabama Houston. I want to see this game with Alabama coming out on top. Football school going all the way for a basketball title. So,
I don't like it. I don't like that. Stick to your sport. You can be competitive in another sport, but
I'm on the fence. I'm Alabama, Houston. I watched Houston play more games. I really just thought those guys, their bigs are just so talented. They're long, they play good defense, and they have the guards to go with it. And I'm just torn on who to pick where. But
all right,
I don't know. I think I'm going Houston or Alabama, but more I think about it, I want to lean towards Houston to win it all.
That's fair. My Elite Eight, knee-jerk reaction. Brackets have barely been out a couple hours. I got Alabama, Arizona. I gotta go chalk on some of these. Hey, it happens. I got Duke and Marquette out of the East. Midwest, Xavier in the 3-seed Xavier in Houston, and I have UCLA and Kansas with my Final Four. Bama, Duke, Xavier, UCLA, with UCLA beating Alabama in the championship game. I love the defense. I don't know if it's the color scheme. I owned a LaDainian Tomlinson powder blue when I was younger, so I think it's something with the blue and gold down there. Dan, you got the blue and gold on right now, Pitt. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do some more research. I'm gonna be tweaking my bracket. I'm a classic overthinker when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm right up until the first game. I'm tinkering with my bracket. I don't know if you've ever seen what was the fantasy football show?
The Wire?
No,
Or no, not The Wire.
fantasy,
The League.
the league. Ruxin, he's known as the tinker with his lineups. I'm the tinker of March Madness bracket.
Password is Taco.
I'm gonna have to go to the Aaron Rodgers Darkness Retreat and make my bracket through that. I want next year I'm gonna have to do this. I need someone to erase all the numbers. Because the numbers they mess with your mind a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And I'm gonna have someone make me a bracket without the numbers, the 1s, 2s. Because once you get to that 8, 9, 7, whatever matchups, they start to mess with your head a little bit. So I think I'd be better off without seeing the numbers and just picking off what I feel.
I remember back in the day, Joe Falchow did this bracket poll at school, and I bought a few and gave my old man a couple, and I filled out a couple, and I ended up winning it all because it was the year Florida had Joakim Noah, and I was the only one. Me and Devin Waslink had Florida the whole way, but I actually had one more win than Devin somewhere in the bracket. So I ended up winning it all, and it was pretty cool. It was the only time I've ever filled out a bracket and got that many right. I remember my old man always tells me this time of year, him and his my grandmother would watch the brackets come out, and then they'd fill them out. And the one year Georgetown was really good. Patrick Ewing was there and stuff. So he told my grandmother, hey, you can have Georgetown. I'll take the rest of the field. Whoever, wins the championship, the other person give them $100. Georgetown ran the table and won it all. So it's a fun time of year. I like this time of year. Are we going to do one as a pod? Are we going to put that out there? Hey, let's fill one out online and get some listeners involved.
How do you want to set? I do want to do that. How do you want to set it up? We have that March Madness thing going now with just the individual teams, and the person gets a gift card.
Yeah.
Do we want to do it for say charity of their choice thing? Maybe.
What, a bracket? If we fill out a bracket?
Yeah, the winner, we donate to charity of their choice.
I think that we just give a gift card, $25 gift card. Whoever wins the bracketology, gets the most points. I think that we'll give them a $25 gift card as well.
Okay, yeah, we'll set something up like that too,
and then we'll do it online. I assume, correct? Can you do that your own?
ESPN, yeah, you can do it through ESPN.
Well, I'm on ESPN right now, so. Okay.
Because they do all the points and stuff for you.
Oh, so okay. Yeah. Then how about you figure that out and tweet it out, and then whoever gets involved. And you can one entry.
Have any amount it's a lot easier than what we did earlier because you can have any amount of people. It's not like we need a certain. Yeah. We could just have us 3 or Yeah. Which it won't be that. But.
No, we got to get people involved, but one entry, you get one. Be respectful. Oh, you're filling out 30 brackets.
You have to have or should we put a name and password on it and say you have to have proof of subbing on YouTube or something and DM us or I don't know.
Honor system.
Honor system get messy.
So it can get messy. It could get out of hand quick.
All right.
So we'll give them the name and password, and then you have to put your first and last name.
That's fine. We're looking at you, DJ.
Or your alias that we know your alias of.
That's fair.
Some people don't like. Yeah. But who do you guys? Andrew said UCLA. Dan, who's your pick?
I haven't filled out a bracket yet. When I saw this, I'm really leaning towards, and you guys aren't going to like this, is the number 2 seed Texas. Honestly, it's tough because the only way I see them making it is if Houston can get bounced early not even early, before they have to play them. But that Texas team, watching them yesterday just run through Kansas the way they did, they were hitting at will, and then they were playing some suffocating defense. They made Kansas look like a team that shouldn't be a number 1 seed, but Kansas is very good as well. But I think Off the top of the head, I'm gonna have to take Texas. That's who I'm leaning towards.
I wouldn't like that pick. I don't mind that pick at all.
Okay.
I do think they have what it takes to get it to the championship and win. You look for teams that can handle adversity, just like mentally. They lost their coach pretty early in the season due to like some pretty difficult circumstances.
Mhm.
And hey, they came together and they're still a top seed and they dealt with that pretty well. And it's hard to come back like that after losing a coach like that, especially when you're not a professional and you're say like so those are kids. Like I'll be honest,
Yeah.
like college, those are still kids, and to be able to still band together and not have a complete null season and like meltdown or just call it quits after that. I'm sure they had to deal with some tough questions from media,
Oh, absolutely.
and, like opposing fans and stuff like that. So I think they definitely have the moxie to get to those late rounds, and hey, they could pull it off and win a title. It's not too hard to think of a 2 seed winning the title.
No.
So hey, I don't mind that pick at all.
And since you brought that up, the season could have went one of two ways, and I'm glad it's going this way for them because they could have just folded, but they didn't. They showed that they would band together and play together. Sometimes groups of young men need some adversity like that to grow together even tighter and come together even tighter. Look at when Louisville was in the tournament and Kevin Ware blowed out his leg, so, and that team just rallied around each other to play better and play for him. So you see it happen. I don't want to say a lot, but when it does, when unfortunate circumstances do arise, that young men can band together and play together. And that's a scary team to play against. It really is. Because if it would have went the other way, they could have just folded and we wouldn't even be talking about them right now. Yeah. But it went the way that it should have, and they banded together, and I like that.
And hey, it goes back to one of my favorite quotes. This should be what March Madness is all about. This quote right here: "Any man with two hands has a fighting chance." This is March. This is March, and anything can happen. This is what's going to get everyone through the week coming. We'll be talking a lot of basketball. You're going to flip on everything, and you're going to hear the detailed matchups. And you know what? I love it. It's far from the usual where all we're hearing about is NFL free agency and, hey, where is this quarterback going? And why isn't this guy getting his money? And it's just nice for the next probably 18, 20 days to be able to just tune that all out, kick back, relax, watch some hoops, see some great stories come out of it, those Cinderella teams, and just a great time of year all around. So I think we're all excited, and we're going to be tinkering with brackets for probably the coming couple of days.
We have an issue for the Penn State game, though.
What?
10 o'clock Thursday night.
Yeah. Yeah, 9:55.
Yeah, it's not an issue because we hoop till like 10:30. So, yeah, repping the hoops.
Repping the hoops. The OGL, the Old Guys League.
I like it.
That's what happens, but I don't know. I'm not going to skip out on it this week, but I'm not going to be too happy missing some of the game. I'll be honest. I'll keep it 100 with you. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
There's enough technology now. You could get updated on the score and stuff. You'll be all right. Or you could do what an old man power move, because my old man does this all the time. Like, we went to Buckos games a few times, and when the Pens were going on runs in the playoffs, he would record the game, not listen to the radio on the way home or not look at the scoreboard at the Buckos game or nothing, and then would go home and watch it. The one time he was coming home and he was going to punch a Pittsburgh police officer because cops like, Pens win. He was pissed off. He was so mad. He's like, that dick. He's like, just out of nowhere, just had to tell me the Pens won. I recorded it. I was like, I get it.
Dude, that's a way to ruin someone's day.
Jag.
Yeah.
Do we go to the week then?
Hold up. Let me switch over to the other. One sec. Hold up.
Pens, yeah.
Hey, I was
we're good to go.
I was pretty close with what I said last week. I said undefeated, no losses, and they got a point in every game this week, and they won every but one? Islanders game, that's it. They just lost in overtime.
Yeah.
They won every game except they still got a point out of it. I said they were gonna have a strong week, but I was a tad off with that game, which they should have won. Jari looking shaky. still looked today. But I don't know. Is Casey DeSmith looking better than him lately? That's all I gotta say. But Jason Zucker, the hottest man in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's playing his way right out of Pittsburgh right now. But
yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched today's game. Did you watch today's?
It wasn't televised for me because I have that Fubo TV. It wasn't on.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it, so no, I was not able to. TNT? Yeah, that's. I don't have TNT on Fubo, so.
I thought not the funniest part, but Alex Nylander got absolutely run over by Trouba, of course.
Yeah.
And like moths to a light, Malkin and Zucker just
the Rangers, like the first 6 minutes of the game, they took 6 penalty minutes. Bang, bang, bang. I think we scored on the 5-on-4, maybe.
Yeah.
Who was it? Raquel.
Yeah.
Nice little, one-timer from inside dot. But yeah, they played well. The Rangers are definitely like a force to be reckoned with. I think they stuck with them pretty well. Just they were so physical. I didn't think the Penguins could match up to it, but they didn't back down, which was nice. And all I gotta say is, like, Evgeny Malkin's got to figure it out. I think it was Thursday, that game. He took like he's the all-time penalty minutes guy in Pittsburgh now. But the damnest thing was last night, Saturday, I was watching the game, and it was a power play. Sid fed him like so well in front of the net. And I was just like, damn, like they're going to score. It's just him and the goalie. And you know what Evgeny Malkin does? He puts the puck between his legs and tries to shoot it. It's just him and the goalie. Like at that point, just rip it. And he completely missed the puck. He fanned on it. And then today, he had like 2 other shots he just fanned on the power play. And I don't know, dude, you got to figure out, like, make contact with the puck at least. I don't know. He's just... keep your eye on the ball, I guess. I can't speak on it. Never played hockey, but, eye contact, I guess, works wonders. So that's... Penguins are hot. Jake Gensel can only score on empty nets. Yeah,
half off Jake shakes.
Love to see it. The fourth line is looking a lot better. I think there's more depth than there was before the deadline. So
yeah, but losing Bonino hurts. It does. Lacerated kidney. That's a freak accident. He's out week to week. So
okay, so that could be like...
I think the bigger issue is that third defensive pairing. That's a dog shit pairing. Kulikov and Ruda.
Yeah.
I don't know how you scratch POJ.
I was just going to say, why do you keep scratching POJ whenever he's young, athletic?
Did he play last night, Saturday?
No.
I was going to say maybe it's because to back-to-back, but if he didn't play, yes.
See, you're not going to do that with a forward or defenseman. You're gonna on a back-to-back, it's more of a goalie because that's a lot on a goalie, especially what was it, 5 or 6 o'clock start yesterday, 5 o'clock start today, or whatever. So yeah, you do that with a goalie, not with your defenseman.
A little easier because of a little home stretch, but still, I can see what you're saying. Yeah. Any news out of Bucko City down in Florida?
They were down 11-2 earlier. I saw that.
Dude, the pitching is not looking.
Bullpen's horrible.
Bednar's on Team USA though, so that's the excuse.
Doesn't matter. Every other guy's getting shown.
The flip side, our best pitcher is on Team USA.
That's fair.
There's gonna be no use for him if you can't hold a lead till the 9th.
Oh, there'll be use for him. Ship him out of town.
Hey, if you put me in those tights and that Pirates jersey, I'd be like, I'd have my one hand on the phone. It's like the third inning. I'd be like, bring David out. You'd see him coming out. Yep.
Need the right-hander.
You ever see that video from, I think, is an SEC college game, baseball game?
The kids called it.
They prank called the bullpen. They're like, get Smith up out there, and then you see the bullpen, like he gets up, and they're in their living room just like going nuts laughing.
So with colleges, they don't have actual bullpens. He had to come out of the dugout and run down to where they warm up. It was hilarious. Yes, I've seen that. It was great.
We gotta get the Pirates number. Do you think they have like a landline or something?
I don't know.
Well, I'm not even those rotary phones in the dugout.
Probably does like Doves or something. He's so damn cheap.
That's like is it Steve Young? Was it would call out?
Montana.
Was it Montana?
Yeah,
okay.
He'd call his wife.
He would press 9 and he'd get a dial tone and call his wife, and she's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I just want to see if it call out." So he'd call her every time he could. Every time he was ever on the phone after talking upstairs, he'd call his wife. She's like, Pay attention. Oh, I love you. You know.
You know what I'd do? I'd find like just fans' numbers. And if I was like Joe Montana, I'd be calling him during the 49ers game. It'd be like that moment, like you're like your friends will never believe this or something. Like Joe Montana just called me during the fourth quarter.
I mean, say what you want about Joe Montana, whatever. That's a stand-up move to call your wife while you're at work. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
That's just like a curious cat move right there, you know. It's like a Nikola Tesla, like good mind, you know, engineering. I don't know. Yeah, good move. But any Steelers news before we wrap up a little bit?
Yeah, they cut that cornerback or safety or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he do anything?
No, and they traded for him.
12 million is very significant, though.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, that's big.
He's making a boatload of money for like nothing.
There's gonna be more cap cuts.
Yeah,
there's gonna be more.
But I think the big news out of the NFL is just that Bears trade to Carolina for that first, and then they got a 9.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, well, they got 5 picks.
The Panthers got fleeced in that deal. Fleeced.
That was like they cashed in their money in the bank. Yeah. That's a decent receiving core though. Say what you want about Chase Claypool, he's serviceable. But you got Darnell Mooney and DJ Moore now, the young quarterback, like a serviceable quarterback. But now what worries me is it's in territory to take, you know, a good lineman that potentially the Steelers might have taken. So
I don't think the Bears
they need a defensive player.
Defense corner line. I think they go defensive line. I think they'll be targeting that Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez getting a number 1 corner. I think that's a big priority for them.
So does this change anything for the Steelers, or are we just like that's NFL news?
I was just bringing it up that and then like Lamar, everyone's making a big uproar about Lamar, and I just want to touch on this real quick because I'm tired of hearing about and people want to come at me and ask me my opinion and then want to get butthurt. Here's my opinion on Lamar, why nobody's paying him. He can't finish seasons. He's a mobile quarterback that gets his head knocked. I wouldn't say his head knocked off, but he's taking his decent share of hits. He wants all this guaranteed money. The Bengals are okay with Huntley, honestly, or not Bengals. The Ravens, they'll go with Tyler Huntley. Is it smart? No, but everyone's like, oh well, Lamar's an MVP. I understand that, but he can't throw on the run. He's getting older. He wants all this money. Like I said, he's injury prone. He can't beat anybody in the AFC North. His record against the AFC North is terrible. He's not, on the level of Mahomes and all those guys, and everyone wants to put him on a pedestal because, look what he – no. So, look what he did in his MVP season. I understand that, but it's not sustainable in the NFL. And if you can't throw on the run and you can't win the big games in your division, you're not going to get paid well. And then on the flip side of that, nobody's going to want to sign him because then you're going to have to give up your 2 first-round picks to sign him to the Ravens, and nobody's going to want to do that. So I'm not comparing them, but it might be like a Kaepernick situation where nobody wants to sign him because you're going to have to give up too much, and then you're going to have to pay him too much because he wants so much guaranteed money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying by any means is he a headache like Kaepernick, but it kind of feels like that in the way of people want to make it out to be like that. It's not that at all. It's just everything you have to give up to sign that guy, it's not worth it to handicap and handcuff your organization. Although I heard possibly Carolina was interested, but they just traded away all that draft capital. So where can they make that feasible?
I think with the only other option was the Commanders, and they just re-signed that big D lineman. So they're not going to sign him now. They just made their big money move. It's a lot tougher because he represents himself, and I'm sure like working out a deal like with that kind of it's tough. But and I'm not going to sit here and act like he's financially hurt. And that franchise tag is still worth a lot of money. He's still going to be Scrooge McDuck diving into a pool of coins. So I've no feelings towards it. The only feelings I have towards it is I hope it ruins the Baltimore organization because I'm a Steelers fan. So
that's fair.
I hope it goes down with the ship. That's my only opinion on it. Good for the Steelers. I hope somehow that screws them if they're not able to pay like a good receiver or something like that.
Well, they don't have any.
Yeah. Exactly.
Here-
Hey, now I'll go to pay a receiver, something like that.
One last thing on the NFL. Do we call him Danny Dollars now instead of Danny Dimes?
I do not know how that man made that much money. Honestly, that is
He had a
insane.
good year. He had a decent year. He really did.
Like him and Gino.
That's winning this. That's winning some kind of money.
Well, we have to understand that the cap is going up. They got a new TV deal and stuff, so cap's going way up. So your baseline to pay players is gonna have to go up. So
like, he just made money off 1 year like that though.
that's
And
right.
you got to think contract years, players play so well, and the next year, you know what happens?
Yeah.
It's like the Phantom's Revenge. You're right up here, you're, downhill. So to be in that situation where they basically said, "Hey, if you don't play well this year, you're done." Which, if he didn't, make it that far in the playoffs, which they just lost one game to the Eagles and bounced out anyway, right?
Yeah.
He would have been gone anyway, even if they didn't make the playoffs. So I just thought it was really strange that he's making that much. That's just an insane number to me for a player like that. I feel like that was like if Mitch Trubisky would have played well, like they would have gave him that kind of money. Like if just say that the Giants signed Trubisky and they did the same thing, would Mitch Trubisky have gotten that money?
Well, no. That's why they call it a 1 year prove it deal. He proved it.
It's insane. It's insanity.
I thought it should have been the other way around. Saquon should have made that money, but I can understand.
They franchised him. Not on a running back. No. Look at Henry. King Henry's on the trading block now because this is the last year they're going to get anything valuable out of him.
The Titans aren't like the Titans anymore. I think they whiffed on Malik Willis. Right? I didn't see much from him this year. I mean, is their line that good? Was he getting protected?
They were good the past few years. I mean, why is Henry putting up the yards he is if that O line isn't good? I know he's a freak in nature. I know Derrick Henry's a freak, but
Willis play he was running for his life, so I assumed it was either the line or he can't make the right reads and was just like last ditch effort scrambling. But hey, I guess the Steelers dodged a bullet there because imagine if we had Malik Willis with the line we have right now, Malik Willis would have been just plankton when he got ran over trying to steal the formula from the Krusty Krab, and he was just flattened under someone's boot. So
there were so many people pissed off that we took Kenny instead of Malik too, and it just shows like, hey, we can sit here and talk about it. We're not the ones evaluating, and thank God we're not us regular people because so many people would have whiffed on that. So hey, I'm okay with what we got.
All I'm going to say is we got the best quarterback in the draft, but the only argument people can make is maybe he wasn't justified first round pick. That's the only thing they could say, because they all other went in the third, fourth round. But who knows that maybe someone else would have taken him in the second round. Maybe someone would have taken him late first. So you can never tell. That's up for debate. That's history, though. Steelers took him at 19? So 19, 20, yeah. So, hey, that's history. We took the right one. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Yeah.
That's football talk. Jag of the week? We got one?
I do.
I got a small one.
Yeah.
It was like a 5-second interaction. It was like a 2-second interaction, but enough for me to see. So you know what I mean? It's not that great. So I'll go for it. So I was pulling out just like a random road. I can't remember which one, but not even it's not like I was going to run into the person, but they're coming down the road that I was going to pull out on. And I was clearly going to stop, but the lady had one hand cell phone for the 2 seconds I saw her, one of those legally blonde, Chihuahua puppy things, on her lap. And then, the half melon bowl haircut. And she stared at me like this, no hands on the wheel. I was going to hit her. I was I clearly stopped 5 seconds before she came. And she's daggering me down. You know what her first name would have been. We all know what her first name would have been. But to have no wheels, no hands on the wheels, 3 distractions on your hand and then to have your hand up at me, come on now, Jag.
The only way that would have been any worse, because I was waiting for you to say she was smoking a cigarette too. That's what I was waiting for.
She might as well have been, one hand Chihuahua, one hand up at me, absolutely puffing on a dart.
Flying you the bird.
John and Kate +8 haircut. That's all I gotta say. Right. Jag of the week right there. I should have T-boned her.
Should have. It'd have been her fault.
Yeah. Chihuahua would have been yipping at me though, so I wouldn't want to deal with that.
So I got two. One's a runner up. So went down to Pittsburgh, St. Patty's Day parade. Didn't go to the parade, whatever. Down on the North Shore. And as I've told this story before, Tequila Cowboy, the restroom. I've told you the stories about it. The guy, forgetting to pull his pants down before taking a leak and just pissing himself, right? We had the same thing. We had the same thing happen. St. Patty's Day. It wasn't the jeans though. This man soiled himself in a kilt, which I just feels a bad look in general to be walking around in a soaking wet kilt at that point and running back out. Yeah, getting down. But Jag of the week here. Not really Jag, it's pretty funny. So I'm at the Burl Sheets, getting a coffee and a breakfast sandwich with Nicole. I'm backing out of my parking spot and no cars. I'm fully backed out. Next thing I know, SUV's about 2 feet away from me, just hitting the horn. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy's deal? Like I was nowhere near me. The backup cam's on, dude flew up right onto me. So I go to pull around the building. This SUV starts cutting through the parking spaces trying to, cut me off. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, this dude's nuts. Like, I didn't do anything, didn't hit him, nothing. So Nicole's like, I don't know what this guy's problem is. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just ignoring him at this point, whatever. Go out, make a left, get into the turning lane to go right, up Leechburg Road. And she's like, I think he's pulling up next to us. SUV comes up right next to me. I put my window down, getting ready to mother F at this point, roll down the window. Coach Lovelace. We're in it. He's like, you got to toughen up, coach. He's laughing. He wanted me to get out and see what was going on in the parking lot because he was trying to. I was like, I had no idea what was going on. It was too early in the morning. I was cracking up though. It was pretty funny when he just pulled up. He's grinning out his window, just laughing. For a moment, he had me there, but I'll give myself the Jag of the week there. Just getting played like that. I should have saw that. Coach Lovelace played me like a fiddle.
That's pretty good.
Imagine
how good it would have been if that wasn't you and he was trying to jerk with somebody and somebody else gets out.
Oh
yeah.
So this is another part. Yeah, you remember a couple weeks ago we saw each other at the stoplight, flipping the bird as a joke. So I'm at Coupe de Ville last night. I'm just sitting there watching the basketball games. And I see this guy make eye contact with me. I'm like, that's my buddy, I look up and he's staring right near me. I stare at him and I just, flip him the bird as a joke. Was not my buddy. I felt like such an idiot. I'm like, I know this guy was not him. I texted him. I'm like, dude, there's a guy down here looks exactly like you. He said, that poor SOB.
I've done something like that a few times. I mean, I've waved at people, and if you see me on the road and I think it's you, I'll get dramatic. I'll hang out the window and wave. I did it, and I thought it was Ginger the other day, and Amanda was like, who was that? I said, I thought that was Ginger. And then one time, walking into a basketball game, we were still in high school, and I patted this guy on the back pretty hard because I thought it was Mr. Ippolito. It was not Mr. Ippolito. It wasn't him at all. It was.
That's one of the funny ones, though, just in general, mistaken identity like that, because the other person has no clue what's going on.
And then they're getting secondhand embarrassment because you're embarrassed, and then you just called them out.
Yeah, you're embarrassed, but they're involved in it now. They're part of the story going there. Yeah. They're getting that secondhand embarrassment. Yeah.
So I have a Jag as well. Went up to Lamont Robinson yesterday. I've been there a few times. It's kind of out of the way. What's the matter, Ryan? You all right?
Yeah.
First time at IKEA yesterday, though. Never been. It was pretty cool. But so yesterday we get into the mall, and there's this big old candy store in there, and they got a bunch of just candy everywhere. I mean, there's a lot to look at. So there was a family in there, and they had some youngins, and the youngest one I'd have to say was probably 18 months. So just finding her legs, right? Looking like Bambi. So they got her off the leash, right? She's just running around having a good old time, but can barely keep herself up. Crashes right into the one display. and they're actually checking out at the time. And instead of, I'm like looking, I'm like, this little girl went down pretty hard, and you heard some thuds. And then the dad was like looking and looking, like waiting, looking and looking. I'm like, and then she starts screaming and crying. So that dad, for not jumping in right off the bat to go see if your kid's all right, you're a jag.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
respect it.
No. Not in a public setting. Like if you're at a playground, sure, but not out in a store or something like that. You go make sure they're okay, and then you
was it like a hard fall?
Oh yeah,
okay.
oh yeah. She went down,
Okay.
and like there was different tiers to this display, so they got wider. So it was like a pyramid, and she hit hard, and I was like,
Yeah.
I could see like ignoring if it's like a small one, because if you give them the attention, they're gonna just start like bawling.
Let's just
if you're
say,
are you okay? Are you?
But if you know kids well enough and they stop breathing because they're screaming, yeah, that means that they're hurting pretty good.
Yeah.
That's mine.
That's a good one to wrap her up with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we got. Big bracket stuff coming out. Keep an eye on the Twitter. We'll get that going. I'll probably work on that tomorrow. Get it up by, let's say, late afternoon, early afternoon. But yeah, get the bracket link out. We'll set something up. 1 entry per person. Should we have proof of YouTube sub too to maybe crank our numbers up a little bit? Yeah. Just tweet proof of YouTube sub and we'll give you the password. We'll DM you it. So, hey, I mean,
that's fair.
Shooter's going to shoot.
Yep.
We're giving away a gift card. We can't have people doing multiple entries.
You're right. I agree with that. That's fine. You get people like DJ out there.
I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy here.
No, but before we wrap up, special shout out. Out and about in Shady Side yesterday, I hear the classic male greeting in the bar. Who let this guy in? Look, it's Youngzers super fan Jake Guard sitting there.
No, get out of town.
Gucci. Super fan.
Nice.
So it was good to see him out and about. Yeah, good to see him out there. I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, that's the classic greeting that who let this guy in. He had the thumb going too, just the vintage. He couldn't have pulled it off any better.
Would have been better is I like the chokehold.
No, because that's how you get floored, bud.
You've never done that? Like go behind your buddy, grab by the neck real quick.
Nope. Yeah, I have enough friends that'll punch me in the balls. That's why.
Yeah.
That's their first instinct, just ball tap you. No thanks, I'm good. It's either who let this guy in, or they let anybody in this establishment. Something like that. Yeah, I never put my hands on it, because what would end up happening to me, Ryan? I think it's my buddy, and it's mistaken identity. I put him in a chokehold. Next thing I know, this guy's turning around giving me a 2-piece and a cola. All right, that ain't happening.
No. You'll be all right. All you gotta do is check the ear. If it looks like a piece of cauliflower, you don't do it. If you see a little puff here, you don't go after that guy. 'Cause, you're gonna be put in the sharpshooter or the walls of Jericho or something like that.
All right, this is the last thing I got. But you brought up the walls of Jericho. Did you guys see UFC fight? The guy tapped out to the walls of Jericho.
Yes,
I didn't see that.
Yes,
yeah. You look at a classic.
Wait, the walls of Jericho. What was it? Quads? He tapped his quads out.
Yeah, he had him fully in it.
Dude,
awesome. You have to retire as a fighter if you tap out to the walls of Jericho. And
the Undertaker Hell's Gate. That would have been sweet.
That's more of a triangle choke, so that's understandable.
Yeah, not the
walls of Jericho. Master Lock's just a full Nelson.
I used to put Connor in the walls. He was,
What older brother didn't put their younger brother in some sort of sharpshooter, ankle lock?
I can say for a fact, Andrew never put me in the walls. I was never in the walls.
I put my brother in the walls in the figure four, and my old man would be watching, and he'd be like, "Roll over, reverse the figure four, roll over."
Put the pressure on them,
Yeah. I'd be sitting there like,
does that actually work when you roll?
No, it's all.
I was gonna say that there's no rational thing to that. That's like saying you put a guy in an arm bar, roll over, and then his arms. Yeah. just doesn't work that way. That's
No.
like physics. Like, I can't believe that fooled some. You know, there's still some like 30, 40-year-old guys that are like fooled by that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, roll over.
All over.
Yeah.
Still real to me, damn it. But yeah, I mean, I respect it. It's fine.
I've never been the walls.
Oh, real
Legacy.
quick, did you see that they might allow legal betting on like marquee WWE matchups?
That's insane.
Yeah,
I literally win every time because I can predict that so easily.
you might get some more twists and turns. No, I don't know.
Yeah. That'd be good for the sport, I think. Yeah.
You bet on everything now. I
The
love it.
writers. The writers would be, no, that'd be inside information,
Yeah,
right?
they're not allowed. Yeah,
They'd be allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah.
There have to be so many regulations on that. It's like betting on
it's like Pete
like
Rose.
the end of like a Broadway musical or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
And yeah, that is. And you can see, I think on Barstool, you can bet on the Oscars tonight. So my final thought is, people don't forget Will Smith. Your wife cheated on you, interviewed you about it. You cried about it. You slapped Chris Rock. You look like a jackass. People don't forget. So yeah.
So who are we putting? Who's our favorite? Who are we riding with for the Oscars?
I don't watch them. That's an elitist thing. That ain't for me. I
Is
can't
it
stand
like
Hollywood.
Best film? Is that what it is? No, that's the Academy Awards. What's one for the movies?
Oscars are
It's
like
like
best actor and stuff, supporting role, stuff like that. Yeah,
Is it Best Picture? Is that
it might be, but I don't care.
The ones with Best Picture is pretty good because that's how you know the good movies are.
No,
No, you were up for an award tonight, the best hauler.
Oh yeah, surprised I'm here.
the best what?
Yeah.
No, 'cause I remember one year they did it right.
I didn't hear Hunter.
Bong Joon-ho won and Parasite won. Parasite turned out to be a good movie. I wouldn't have watched it if it didn't win. Like, basically there's like a Lombardi trophy of those, and like Parasite won, and it was like a movie that was spoken all Japanese, and it was this man like Bong Joon-ho or whatever. And it turned out to be like a really great movie, and I seriously highly recommend it. 'Cause I would have never have watched it if he didn't win, and it was a great movie. And then I watched the second movie by him too, called Snowpiercer, and it was just as good. So yeah, the only one I'd pay attention to is Best Picture, and yeah,
I don't watch any of it.
Nope.
I don't watch it. I follow up on it just to see like what the good movies are.
All right, well, let us know next week then.
Yeah.
I don't think I will.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, Youngsters episode 34. See you later.